Hello and welcome to today's training called Amazon Bestseller Secrets, 5 Keys to Writing and Publishing a Best-Selling Book. I so appreciate you taking the time to be here with me today. And before we dive into the content, I want to take just a moment to introduce myself to anyone who may be hearing me for the first time and wondering who on earth this Tammy Metzler person is and how I came to be sharing today's topic with you. So basically, I have been reading and writing for as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, I was just as happy typing out short stories or curling up with a good book as I was outside playing with my sisters or my friends, that kind of thing. I've always loved words. I've always loved books. I've always loved reading. And the thought of growing up to actually write books and earn a living that way just was kind of like a dream come true, but it also seemed so far out of reach that I didn't even think it. It didn't even really seem possible to me. And so when I did grow up, when I finished my English degree and went off into the real world, quote unquote, I still didn't think writing books was a feasible option. So I kind of turned to my fallback, if you will, and I became a copywriter and decided to earn my living with words that way. And when the idea came up for me to write a book, pardon me, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold here, so I'm going to try not to cough in your ear, and I do apologize for that. So I hope you'll bear with me. So when I started thinking about wanting to write a book about what I learned through copywriting, it was a thrilling thought. I was like, me, a published author? It was kind of too good to be true. It was like dreams come true for this little bookworm, to see my name on a book. I just thought that was pretty cool. But I was really scared too, and completely clueless and totally overwhelmed because I didn't know where to start. So I let this idea simmer until it slowly died out. And then one day I was catching up with a friend that I hadn't spoken with in quite a while. And she asked me how my book was coming along. And I'd completely forgotten that I'd talked to her about it when the idea first sprouted, and I was brimming with excitement and enthusiasm. And I realized in that moment that a full year had gone by and I hadn't written a single word. So I thought enough is enough. I decided what do I have to lose? I decided, what am I going to lose if I actually give this a try? So I decided to stop putting my dreams on hold and just get it written. And I did. I devoted all of my time to writing that book, and I got it done in under 30 days. I was so proud to hold that book in my hands, to show a copy to my parents, my friends, prospective clients. It was such a thrilling process for me. But beyond that, my first little book never really gained much steam. I didn't spend a lot of time promoting it, and that little paperback copy, which I had spent very little time, pretty much zero time promoting, only sold maybe a dozen copies in the span of several years. So, obviously not a very big deal, right? So I thought, okay, well, this obviously isn't working, and I abandoned that dream for a while longer. I had a couple of kids, I focused on my copywriting business. But in the back of my mind, I was still thinking about books, about being an author, like on a more full-time basis. And meanwhile, in that time, I'd also gotten my first Kindle, my first Amazon Kindle. And I was slowly transitioning from a love of paper books, which I still have. I still love paper books. I still can't get enough of going into libraries and bookstores and actually holding the books in my hands. But I slowly started to enjoy the convenience of ordering a Kindle book and reading it seconds later. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? No more waiting for the hard copy to come in the mail or making a special trip to the bookstore or library. I could see a book I wanted and have it in my hot little hands just seconds later. And I'm not the only one either. There's millions of people who read Kindle books, especially now that you don't actually have to own a Kindle to read one. I don't know if you know that, but there's a free Kindle app available on pretty much any smartphone, computer, or tablet where you can read Kindle books. So it's a pretty cool thing. So anyway, back to my story. This past summer, I'd been hearing more and more about authors finding success on Kindle. Color me intrigued. So I thought, well, what the heck? Again, what do I have to lose? So my first book, Profitable Newsletters, had been published back in 2009. So it's been a while. And I figured a lot had probably changed since then. So I dove into learning more about Kindle and the latest and greatest in self-publishing. And I went through my Profitable Newsletters book and revised it. At first I went in and I thought I'll just tweak a few little things, but I pretty much rewrote the whole thing because a lot had changed in email marketing as well. So I revised that and then I published it as a Kindle book, not just a paperback. And at first, nothing much happened. So sparks didn't fly. I didn't become an overnight success. I think I sold maybe 2 copies in the first month after I published it. Whoop-de-doo, right? So I thought, well, okay, I'm not done. I'm not giving up yet. So I kept going, and I wrote and published my second book, How to Write Persuasive Emails. Still not much happened. So I thought, okay, you know what? I have to put some work into this, right? To actually launch the things to let people know they're there. And honestly, I was pretty terrified at first of what people would say and what they would think of my babies that I'd worked so hard on. But finally, I knew I just had to get over my fear and just rip the Band-Aid off, if you will. So I did. I followed a 3-step launch plan that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I had some pretty good results. In fact, my Persuasive Emails book had over 400 sales in the 5-day launch period, which brought the book to #1 best-selling status. That was pretty cool. And even though I hadn't even officially launched Profitable Newsletters yet, people started to find and buy it too. So when I finally launched it about a month later, it already had a little momentum. And it was selling a few copies every day organically, just by people stumbling across it. And then I launched it and spiked close to 80 sales in one day, which was really the turning point for both of the books and what helped Amazon really pick up the promotion for me.